Everyone, I am Helen Kelly with Wayne County Human Services and the Pocono Rep. This tutorial is going to show you how you are going to remove someone from the community queue because you're enrolling them into a permanent housing option. So this is what our rapid rehousing providers will be doing and permanent supportive. Typically, they are ESG or COC funded. It's important to note that all ESG and COC funded grantees are required to pull from the queue. So if you were to try and do an enrollment in your program the way you've always done it, the workflow would stop pretty early on, and you wouldn't be allowed to proceed until you started taking that person actually from the queue. So the way that you do that, by going over here, and actually before you accept, I might just recommend going over and adding a note first while you have this here, while they're still on the active queue. It might be one of the simplest ways to go ahead and do a note, and you're just going to want to, indicate that you're enrolling into whatever program type that you have. That's if you're sure it's like a sure thing. So you would go ahead and do that there. There's spots later on where you could also do that, but it's just something if you think ahead and know that you need to have that note in for that status change that's about to happen, you do it right here. Okay, so we're going to go and we're going to accept and enroll from the queue. Okay. Whatever date you actually are pulling them from the queue, we know we need to be enrolling within 24 hours and taking them off the queue within 24 hours. And once you actually do the enrollment, then they automatically will get that status change of enrolled, and you don't have to worry about that. So let's say this was someone that I had helped at the end of the day yesterday. I'm getting to do the paperwork now, enrolling them now. Okay, permanent supportive. Let's say I have a PSH bed. That's what populated. My agency. And since all of these people, ultimately, we're accepting them from the queue. So we're enrolling them. Service is provided. That's what we're going to be choosing. These other options are meant for a different type of referral. Our emergency referral partners, TH and ES, they get referrals sent directly to them and they show up on their dashboard as opposed to having to look on the queue like we do for ours in permanent housing. And sorry about that. So they're either accepting or rejecting referrals, which is a similar but different process to this. So as they're accepting and rejecting, they have options. We know at this point we are accepting. So that's the service provided. And we're going to accept and enroll from the queue. Okay, so from there, there's a couple of different things that I want to bring your attention to on this screen. One is that you can go to the client dashboard. You can start an enrollment right here, which is what we would do. You could go back to the community queue record, back to the community queue, or go back to the list record. The list record is actually, it's the same exact thing as the community queue record. It's just called something else here. And I want to show you what's here. Okay, so let's say in that previous screen we were just on, you could not actually enroll them doing all the demographic data and all the household members and everything at that time. So you just did enough to get them off the queue so that you're doing that within that 24-hour guideline. But then that was all you could do at that moment. Maybe after lunch you're going to be actually doing the rest of it or whatever the case may be. To be able to do an enrollment, if you're not doing it right at that time, you would come back here to their queue record. You might have to look on the historic queue for them. They'll also actually show up under all of your referrals as well. But you'll go here to referrals. Okay. And then this is the accepted referral, the one that I just did, permanent supportive with yesterday's date. I'm going to go to review referral. Okay, and then from here, you'll see that I can start an enrollment. Also on this page, just to bring your attention to it, you could enter a referral note here. So this was one of those options where I said later on you could add a note, so you could do that right here. Also the date acknowledged, if you want to do that, just to kind of dot all those I's, cross all those T's. This will not fill in by itself. So regardless of whether you are doing the enrollment portion of it on this screen, where this would be blank, or whether you did it in the previous screen where you were just enrolling right away, you could always go back to their queue record, go access referrals, the one that is associated with you, and then put in the date that you accepted that referral. Okay. So I want to go back, I think, and show you. Let's see, I'm going to cancel. Okay, so this is the screen we were on originally after we accepted them from the queue. And we're going to go and just start an enrollment. Okay, to do this part of the process could take quite a few minutes. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this screen should look familiar to you. This is your typical, whatever you would see whenever you were enrolling in rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing. So you could either edit the household members or no, continue with the enrollment. And then from there, you choose the program type that you're enrolling them into, and things of that nature. Okay, and then you go one by one and you go through their financial data and their education data and all of that information that you've just gotten from them, unless you're doing it with them in real time. But all of that is a process that you're all likely very familiar with, and that's not necessarily specific to coordinated entry. That's just a function of how we run our programs. Right? So I did want to just show that to you. But then once you go through that process, you have successfully pulled someone off the queue and enrolled someone from the queue into your program. Okay, so that is about it for now, and thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Let's see. Sorry, the screen is always a little funny. All right, there we go. All right, have a great day, everyone.